At the beginning of the story, we see a prison in Siberia where many German soldiers were lined up. In fact, after the end of World War II, they had taken many German soldiers as prisoners and made them work around the clock in coal mines. Although the security of this prison was quite low, despite the harsh conditions, no one tried to escape the prison surrounded solely by ice and snow. And this prison was 14,000 kilometers away from any human settlement. Therefore, even if a prisoner managed to escape from this prison, the prison was built amidst ice spread thousands of kilometers in every direction. So no prisoner could even think of escaping from here. But among these prisoners, there was one inmate who was very sharp-minded and wanted to escape from this prison to go to his wife and daughter. The prisoner, Clement Feuerl, had to serve a full 25-year sentence in this prison, which he absolutely did not want. Clement didn't want to spend half his life in prison and was determined to escape under any circumstances. Luckily, he found a chance one day. He escaped by boarding a coal transport wagon. Seeing the stars under the open prison sky, he leapt for joy, but his happiness was brief. After traveling a little distance, the train was stopped, and when Clement looked outside, a Russian soldier was standing in front of him, aiming his gun. Unfortunately, Clement was caught attempting to escape and charged, so he was confined in an open-air cell. The punishment was severe, and the rain that fell at night had worsened Clement's condition. He was kept in that cell not for a few hours, but for a full 2 days. After the full 2 days, the prison warden came to him the next morning and released him from the cell without torturing him in any way. He only said that his comrades were eagerly waiting for him. When Clement met his comrades, they were all waiting for him with batons and sticks. They were all very angry with Clement because his escape had left them hungry for the past 2 days. And Clement now understood the warden's words, why he had said that your comrades were eagerly waiting for you. As soon as Clement saw this, the other inmates attacked him and beat him up badly. He was so injured that prison hospital admitted him, and its doctor was a German inmate. Upon waking, Clement told the doctor that, "I need your help to escape from prison again." The doctor was surprised by Clement's bravery despite his prolonged imprisonment. He refused to give up the thought of escape. The doctor explained that escaping alive from prison was impossible, and even if he did, he would die in the freezing cold outside. But the reality is that even if you do not escape from here, your death is certain. Because the coal mines where you work have a very high concentration of carbon that enters your body through the air and causes dangerous diseases like cancer. Therefore, the doctor told Clement that you need an eye. You should definitely try to escape from this prison. The doctor took out all his warm clothes, shoes, and all the necessary items, and also told him to hide their food near the railway lines. Additionally, he gave Clement a gun so that he can protect himself. In fact, the doctor had meticulously collected all this specialized equipment well in advance because he himself was determined and wanted to successfully escape from the prison. And he doesn't have more than a month left. Now he gave Clement a lunchbox and said that if you survive alive, then deliver this lunchbox to my family and tell them that I am no longer in this world. Once again, in the darkness of night, Clement fled. He chose to walk instead of taking a freight train. After walking all night, he keeps walking in the morning, fearing that Russian soldiers might catch him. Now, when Warden found out in the morning that Clement had escaped from prison, he went straight to the doctor to interrogate him and reached his room. But before he could reach, the doctor had taken his own life because he knew that after hearing the news of Clement's escape, Warden would kill him painfully. After this, the warden sent several Russian soldiers in search of Clement and ordered them to capture him alive and bring him back. But even after searching for many days, they couldn't find any trace of Clement. Lyman was fortunate that because the snowfall had started, his footprints were erased, making it hard to locate Clement. Everyone began to think he'd spend the winter. But Warden is not ready to accept it. Because Warden knew that Clement is very strong and he won't give up so easily. Unwilling to accept defeat, he ordered the search to continue as Clement observed nearby, pressing forward with full enthusiasm through the snowy storm. 9 days after escaping from jail, he suddenly heard the sound of dogs barking. Just like that, he turned back, saw a sled approaching him, and before he could run, the sled came near him. And the rising fire went ahead. Only then did Kleiman's eyes open, and he realized that he was only dreaming. After 9 days on foot, Isel Kleiman had run out of food, and hunger and exhaustion made onward movement difficult. But nevertheless, Kleiman did not give up and kept moving forward against all odds. After days, his body also gave out and he fainted from hunger a few hours later. When he regained consciousness, he heard a strange sound around him. Only then did he see a seal, and upon seeing it, his eyes sparkled. He drew his gun and tried to aim with all his strength, but due to fatigue and weakness, his shot missed and the seal fled from there. Kleiman, who had found a small hope of survival after many days, could not let that hope slip away and immediately pursued it. But while running, Kleiman fell into the water due to breaking ice, injuring his foot. Despite being injured, he continued to chase the seal. Just as Kleiman was about to fire his shot, the seal hid behind a rock. And he saw the seal again. Before entering water, Kleiman fired his last bullet, fortunately hitting the seal. Seeing this, he was overjoyed. He was elated because now he did not have to worry about food during the journey. After several days, Kleiman ate his fill and rested a little. He continued his journey alone on a long trip, with nothing but snow all around him, leading to deterioration of his mental state. Therefore, he talked to himself and motivated himself by saying positive things to keep moving forward. He used the compass to navigate the snowy valley, preventing him from getting lost as days turned into months. After walking for 2 months, Kleiman spotted a small tree in the snowy field. Seeing the tree made Kleiman as happy as if he had found a treasure. And he ran to embrace the tree. In fact, this tree was a sign that after continuously walking for 2 months, he had crossed the snowy field, and a forest was just ahead, exactly as he had thought. From here, the snowy region ended, and the forest began. He was happy, gathering wood and making fires over many months for the first time. Sometimes, he slept peacefully, but it was unclear whether the next day held peace for him. Meanwhile, Warden continued searching for Kleiman. He instructed his search party to look for Kleiman within a 500-kilometer radius. Meanwhile, Kleiman was moving through the forest when suddenly, a blizzard suddenly hit. The blizzard was so fierce that large snow drifts and boulders began to fall from the ground. He tries to move forward, a big load suddenly falls upon him. Kleiman was lucky that 2 men passed by here in the evening. They searched for a place to sleep, saw Kleiman, saved his life just in time, and the trio moved forward after several days' travel. They emerged from the snowy fields. On the way, they encountered a river, for which they built a wooden boat to cross. While crossing, they started talking to each other and began sharing childhood stories, but meanwhile, the river's current became strong and the boat began to go out of control. During that moment, a companion lost balance, fell into the water, couldn't swim, and began drowning. Kleiman jumped into the water and somehow brought the man to the shore, saving his life. On the other side, their other companion left the 2 of them to drown and moved forward alone. His other partner was very greedy. He thought that both had died. Driven by greed, he kept his friend's gold for himself. A short while later, when Kleiman and the other man reached the tent, the man became very angry at his friend and shot him, taking his life. After that, Kleiman and the man took their belongings and continued their journey. They walked for several months hoping that they would find a human settlement, but winter came again, and the surrounding forests were covered by a white blanket of snow. He had picked up a heavy load, making it difficult for him to walk through the snow. Seeing this, Kleiman tried to lighten his burden and said, "Stay with me for a while." But the man became suspicious, thinking that maybe Kleiman wanted to steal his gold. So he attacked Kleiman and pushed him down, causing Kleiman to lose consciousness. Then he saw a pack of wolves coming towards him. To save his life, he began to climb a tree. But while climbing the tree, a wolf grabbed his foot. However, the tree was weak and broke in the middle, causing Kleiman to fall down. Now Kleiman thought that his death was certain when suddenly the sound of gunfire rang out. Kleiman opened his eyes and saw that some wolves were dead and the living ones had fled. In fact, local hunters arrived and saved his life, taking him to their village where villagers treated him. After years of hard work, Kleiman had arrived at a human settlement. Seeing the people made him very happy. He stayed in the village for days, cared for by the people. One day, a letter from Wardan arrived, stating a German soldier is in our jail. And if someone harbored him, he would be called a traitor. Now, unwillingly, Kleiman had to leave the village. Because if he did not leave, Wardan would punish the villagers as well. Before leaving, the villagers gave him food and a hunting dog. On his long journey, Kleiman gained a companion and no longer felt lonely. After many days walking, they found a lumber factory. The dog ran towards him seeking food. Kleiman went into the mill to save his dog. Workers recognized him and took him to the owner. Once there, Kleiman told the owner his entire story. This made everyone feel sorry for Kleiman. They fed him and put him on the train going to Germany. Kleiman was happy that he would soon reach home. But he didn't know that the mill owner had informed Wardan about him. Now, Wardan was waiting at the station with his soldiers. But before reaching the station, Kleiman saw the rushing soldiers from afar. He seized an opportunity to jump off the train and flee, but rushing soldiers saw him and chased. Kleiman quickly crossed the tracks when Wardan suddenly appeared. Upon seeing this, Kleiman's heart raced because he now felt his years of hard work were wasted and Wardan would arrest him. Kleiman's dog attacked Wardan and bit him, once again giving Kleiman an opportunity to flee. And he began to run away with all his might, but then he heard the sound of gunfire, and when he looked back, he saw his own dog dead. Seeing this, Kleiman was deeply saddened, but he did not stop and continued moving forward with all his strength. After that, he swiftly climbed onto the sturdy bridge and executed a daring jump over the speeding passing train, successfully escaping Wardan's hands once again. Days passed as Kleiman continued his journey. By 1952, he was on the run from prison with everyone else. He was at that time in Central Asia, wandering around a fair in Gano. At this fair, he saw various kinds of food and beverages. He was craving food. But without money, he moved forward with a heavy heart. At that moment, his eyes caught two girls selling pancakes at the fair. But the poor guy had only a little money left. It wasn't enough, so he began to walk away in despair, but then one of the girls felt sorry for him. She broke off a pancake piece and gave it to Kleiman. Initially, he found it odd, but then thanked the girls and ate the pancake. Also, there was a Jewish man at the fair. After witnessing everything, Kleiman visited a church. A man pursuing him arrived in George. This man had previously been a prisoner. So he did not turn Kleiman over to the police and tried to help him. Later, he took Kleiman to his home where, many years later, Kleiman returned to chefs in his own old cell. Then this man gave Kleiman a new passport so that he could cross the Russian border and reach Germany. Kleiman was very happy with this man. Before leaving, Kleiman thanked him and set off towards the Russian and German borders. A few weeks later, Kleiman reached the Russian border. There, he showed his passport to the Russian soldiers present. Kleiman was afraid that the soldier might recognize him or seize his fake passport. But fortunately, that did not happen, and the soldier allowed Kleiman to cross the border. Seeing this, Kleiman was so happy. Unable to stop laughing willingly, he finally reached the moment when, upon crossing, he would arrive in Germany. But halfway, a bright light shone in his eyes. When he opened them, he saw Wardan before him. Now, Kleiman looked back. He was still on Russian soil, meaning that Wardan could still arrest him. At this point, Kleiman's heart might have broken because years of hard work were about to be in vain, but then something happened that even Kleiman did not expect. Here, Wardan let him go and allowed him to proceed. At first, Kleiman didn't believe it but gathered his courage and moved forward. Wardan was inspired by Kleiman's will to survive and bravery. Was greatly inspired by that, so he didn't arrest Kleiman and let him return to his country. And then Wardhan says to him, "This fight was just between two soldiers, you and me. You won it. Live your life." Kleiman crossed the border. He reached Germany and arrived near home, where he saw his wife and daughter a short while later. Were leaving the house to go to church, so Kleiman also followed them and entered the church. Although Kleiman hadn't yet called out to his daughter because he was hoping that one day he would definitely find her, when his daughter turned back and saw. He recognized his father and ran to embrace him. After so many years, seeing Kleiman alive, his wife was extremely happy. Finally, the three of them embraced each other, and with that, this film based on a true story comes to an end. It ends here. Hope you enjoyed today's story. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel.